Well, the Obamacare deadline may have passed yesterday, but the battle over the health law rages on. Here to weigh in is Senator Cruz, joining us now.
Morning to you, Senator.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
All right. So they had a bunch of glitches yesterday in the final push. The White House is claiming victory. You know, they hit their 7 million number. What do you think?
Well, look, I mean, the numbers are a bit of funny math because they're giving you numbers of who's signed up. Those numbers don't reflect, number one, who actually bought insurance and paid their first month's premium. But even beyond that, they don't reflect the people who didn't have insurance. You know, McKinsey and Company did a study a couple of months ago. They found of the people signing up, only 11% had been uninsured before that. Another study found 28%. So the bulk of the people who are signing up had insurance to begin with, and you know what? They probably had their insurance canceled because of Obamacare, because we know that over 6 million people had their health insurance canceled because of Obamacare.
A lot of fuzzy numbers there, Senator, but what do we do? I mean, the American people clearly were in favor, according to recent polls, of changes being made to this law. Is that the way to go, or a complete repeal? Next steps?
But look, I think at this point it is abundantly clear this thing isn't working. It has caused millions of Americans to lose their jobs, to be forced into part-time work, to lose their health insurance, or to see their premiums skyrocket. You take a 27-year-old single man in the individual market in Texas, his premiums have gone up over 70%. At this point, you can't fiddle around the edges. I think it is the essence of pragmatism to recognize this thing isn't working. Let's start over. Let's repeal every word of it.
Well, you know, you're kind of in a minority when it comes to that. I know the Democrats are saying mend it, don't necessarily defend it. But, you know, you look at the polling, Senator, and a lot of Americans like parts of it, would like to see parts of it continue. So to blow the whole thing up, I don't know if people are behind that.
Look, I got to tell you, you look at every poll that's done and you've got the support for Obamacare is in the 30s. This is the most profoundly unpopular law we have seen in modern times. And the reason is it's personal. You know, every time I go home, I encounter men and women who will stop me back in Texas and they'll say, listen, I had my health insurance canceled because of Obamacare. I've got a little girl with diabetes. I'm scared for my family. Mm-hmm. This is personal and it's real. Now, a lot of folks are not necessarily optimistic that it can be repealed because the president tells them every day, Harry Reid tells them every day, and a lot of the news media tell them every day it can't be repealed. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you, you can't force this on the American people. I think it's going to be repealed because I think the American people are demanding that.
So, Senator, what we hear is that people like the idea of the preconditions, for example. They like that idea that you can't get kicked off for preconditions. If you look at Obamacare and say to yourself, okay, out of the 2 million pages, I like page 11,009. Are you going to go through elements of that in forming a new plan to replace it? And where is the Cruz plan?
Well, look, I think the principles for common sense health care reform are well established. I've been talking about it a long time. A lot of Republicans have been talking about them. I think we need more competition, more choice, and we need to empower consumers to make decisions with their doctors without government getting in the way. I think the three most important reforms once we repeal Obamacare are, number one, allowing people to buy health insurance across state lines. That will create a 50-state national marketplace, which means you'll have low-cost, catastrophic plans available. The biggest barrier to access is cost. And if you want more access, you want more choices and lower cost. What Obamacare does is it has fewer choices and higher cost. Number two, we should expand health savings accounts so you can save in a tax-advantaged way for health needs. And number three, and this is critical, we need to de-link health insurance from employment so that if you lose your job, you don't lose your health insurance, just like you don't lose your car insurance or your life insurance or your health insurance or your house insurance. And if you do that, then health insurance becomes personal, portable, and affordable. That's the sort of reform that empowers consumers. I think that's what Americans want, rather than empowering a government bureaucrat to get in the
How to do that would be interesting.
Bring it home. I want to bring it to something else. Your Great American Energy Renaissance bill. What can you tell us there?
Well, people are hurting across this country. We've got the lowest labor force participation we've had since 1978. And at the same time, I think we really have a providential blessing of an energy renaissance that is just beginning. It's coming from the private sector. We are opening up vast new resources. And the number one thing that could screw up the millions of high-paying jobs that are becoming available, is government getting in the way. So last week I introduced in a bill the American Energy Renaissance Act to prevent government from getting in the way, to ensure that fracking is not regulated at the federal level but is regulated at the state level, to open up new federal lands, to build the Keystone Pipeline. All of these together have the potential to allow millions of high-paying jobs to be created. And that's what we ought to be talking about in Congress. It's the number one priority of the American people, and Harry Reid won't even talk about it.
And expand global presence, too.
We need lots more jobs. Senator, I don't know if you've watched Fox and Friends in the past, but we've always had kind of a dress code. We're all wearing, the guys all wear
what the heck's
coats.
going on?
Why aren't you wearing a jacket?
I mean, even Ripken had a jacket.
Well,
Ouch.
you know, look, you know, the Noah movie's in town, and it's been raining a lot in D.C. I figure I might need to run out and jump on a giant boat outside.
You know, it has been raining here all weekend.
Just tell the truth. Did Harry Reid take your jacket?
You know, he has the habit of doing that and also taking people's lunches.
It's unbelievable.
I have heard through the grapevine, Senator, that you may have recently gotten a tattoo. Is there anything to that?
Well, I will say I was out in California a couple of weeks ago, and there was some street art that was a little unusual. And I got to tell you, it inspired me. Politics is a strange thing. It inspired me. And so I'm very proud to say I'm proud to stand with Winston Churchill. I'm proud to stand. And I got to say, my wife was fairly astonished.
Wait a minute.
Wait a second. You have
a tattoo of Winston Churchill? I can smell that cigar from here.
Your wife just wanted her name on your arm, that's all.
Wait a second. Is that henna, or is that real?
Look, I will note, if you look at the calendar, it might suggest something about what you're saying, but I'll leave that to others to figure out.
Wow. Okay.
How funny.
Senator Ted, I thought we had a big story.
There you go.
We might have had to wake up Shepard Smith.
Joke's on us.
All right, Senator Ted Cruz, who is tattooed today, but get him before he showers next time. Sir, thank you very much for joining us live.